When we think of a toxic relationship, we often picture physical abuse or extreme emotional manipulation. However, toxic relationships can come in many forms and can be difficult to recognize, especially when we're in the midst of them. Whether you're in a romantic relationship, friendship, or family relationship, it's important to be aware of the signs of a toxic relationship in order to protect your own mental and emotional health. In this video, we'll be discussing 20 signs that you may be in a toxic relationship. 1. Your partner, friend, family member is always critical of you. One of the most common signs of a toxic relationship is when someone is always critical of you. This criticism can come in many forms, such as belittling comments, nitpicking, or even outright insults. If you find that someone is constantly criticizing you, it's a sign that they don't respect or value you as a person. 2. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. If you feel like you're always walking on eggshells around someone, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is unpredictable or has extreme mood swings, making it difficult to know how to act or what to say without triggering a negative reaction. 3. You're always making excuses for their behavior. If you find yourself constantly making excuses for someone's behavior, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone has a pattern of hurtful or inappropriate behavior, but you feel like you need to justify or explain it away to others or even to yourself. 4. You feel like you can't be yourself around them. If you feel like you have to hide parts of yourself or put on a facade when you're around someone, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is judgmental or critical of your true self, or when they have unrealistic expectations of who you should be. 5. They isolate you from friends and family. If someone is isolating you from your friends and family, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is controlling or jealous, and wants to limit your contact with other people who might influence you in a positive way. 6. You're always the one apologizing. If you find that you're always the one apologizing, even when you haven't done anything wrong, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is manipulating you into taking responsibility for their own bad behavior, or when they're using guilt to make you feel like you're the one at fault. 7. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. If someone is making you feel guilty for setting boundaries or saying no to their requests, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is trying to control or manipulate you, or when they don't respect your boundaries and try to push past them. 8. You feel like you're always giving, but never receiving. If you feel like you're always giving and never receiving in a relationship, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is taking advantage of your kindness or generosity, or when they're not willing to put in the effort to maintain a healthy relationship. 9. They use your vulnerabilities against you. If someone is using your vulnerabilities against you, such as your insecurities or past traumas, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is trying to control or manipulate you, or when they're trying to hurt you in order to make themselves feel better. 10. You feel like you're in a power struggle. If you feel like you're in a constant power struggle with someone, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is always trying to be in control, or when they're unwilling to compromise or consider your needs and desires. 11. You feel drained and exhausted after spending time with them. If you feel drained and exhausted after spending time with someone, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is emotionally draining or demanding, or when they're constantly causing drama or conflict. 12. They make you feel like you're never good enough. If someone is constantly making you feel like you're never good enough, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone has unrealistic expectations or is always comparing you to others, making you feel like you're constantly falling short. 13. They refuse to take responsibility for their actions. If someone is always blaming others or refusing to take responsibility for their actions, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is manipulating you or trying to avoid accountability for their behavior. 14. They try to control your behavior or decisions. If someone is trying to control your behavior or decisions, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is manipulating you or has a need for control, and they're unwilling to let you make your own choices. 15. You feel like you're losing yourself. If you feel like you're losing yourself in a relationship, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is trying to change you or mold you into someone you're not, or when they're not supportive of your personal growth and development. 16. They use ultimatums to get their way. If someone is using ultimatums to get their way, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is trying to control or manipulate you, or when they're unwilling to compromise or work towards a solution that benefits both parties. 17. They make you feel like you owe them something. If someone is making you feel like you owe them something, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is using guilt or manipulation to make you feel like you're in debt to them, even if they haven't done anything to deserve it. 18. They're always keeping score. If someone is always keeping score or bringing up past mistakes, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is holding grudges or trying to manipulate you into feeling guilty or ashamed. 19. You feel like you're in a one-sided relationship. If you feel like you're in a one-sided relationship, where you're the one putting in all the effort and the other person isn't reciprocating, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is taking you for granted or isn't willing to put in the work to maintain a healthy relationship. 20. You feel like you're stuck. If you feel like you're stuck in a relationship and can't leave, it's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. This can happen when someone is controlling or manipulative, or when you feel like you're dependent on the other person in some way. Conclusion. Being in a toxic relationship can be incredibly damaging to your mental and emotional health. It's important to be aware of the signs of a toxic relationship in order to protect yourself and make healthy choices for your future. If you recognize any of these signs in your own relationship, it's important to seek help and support in order to create a healthier and happier life for yourself. Remember, you deserve to be treated with respect, love, and kindness in all of your relationships, and it's never too late to make a change for the better. If you're currently in a toxic relationship, it's important to take action to protect yourself and seek help. Here are some steps you can take. Talk to a trusted friend or family member about what's going on. Sometimes it can be hard to see things clearly when you're in the middle of a toxic relationship, so getting an outside perspective can be helpful. Consider seeking the help of a therapist or counselor. A professional can provide you with additional support and guidance as you navigate your way out of a toxic relationship. If you feel like your safety is at risk, it's important to have a plan in place to protect yourself. Set boundaries with the toxic person. Let them know what behaviors are not acceptable and what you will and won't tolerate in the relationship. Consider ending the relationship if the toxic behavior continues. Sometimes the only way to truly protect yourself and create a healthy future is to walk away from a toxic relationship. Remember, you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved, respected, and valued. If you're currently in a toxic relationship, don't give up hope. There is always a way out, and there are people who can help you along the way. Remember that you deserve to be in a relationship that is positive, uplifting, and empowering, and don't be afraid to prioritize your own needs and desires.